All right, let's talk about protecting your organization's most valuable assets. When it comes to that, picking the right privileged access management or PAM solution is a huge decision, especially as we look towards 2026. But honestly, with so many options out there, how do you even begin to choose? Well, we're going to break it all down.
So let me just start with a question for you. If you had to name your company's single biggest security risk right now, where would you even look? The answer? Well, it might surprise you. It's almost always hiding in plain sight. See, your biggest threats often don't come from some super sophisticated hacker group far away. Nope, they come from the accounts that already have all the power on the inside. Your admins, your service accounts, your root users. These are the accounts that can literally change anything, see everything, and shut down your defenses from within.
Just think of these privileged accounts as the master keys to your entire digital kingdom. And here's the kicker. Picking the wrong protection, a PAM tool that's clunky or confusing or that people just don't want to use, can be just as bad as having no protection at all. It just creates security gaps and encourages workarounds that attackers absolutely love to find.
So in this explainer, we're going to give you a clear roadmap. We'll start with what privileged access even is, walk through a solid framework for choosing the right tool, introduce you to the top contenders for 2026, and most importantly, help you figure out the best choice for your team.
Okay, so before we can even think about comparing solutions, let's get on the same page about what exactly we're trying to protect here.
At its heart, privileged access management is all about identity security. Its entire job is to be the digital bodyguard for any account that has special, elevated permissions. You know, the ones that can mess with settings, grab sensitive data, and control your most important systems.
So how does it actually pull this off? Well, a good PAM system is kind of like a super strict security guard. First, it locks up all your important credentials in a super secure vault. Then, it only hands out access when someone absolutely needs it and only for the time they need it. That's what we call just-in-time access. Plus, it watches and records everything that happens in a session, enforces rules based on who you are, and even automates annoying but critical tasks like changing passwords.
And why is this such a big deal? Well, this chart really lays it out. A huge chunk of the reason, 40%, is just flat-out preventing breaches. That's what attackers are after. But it's also about making sure you're compliant with regulations like GDPR, cutting down the risk from insider threats, whether they're malicious or just accidental, and finally, just getting a clear view of who's doing what on your most critical systems.
Okay, so we've got the what and the why covered. Now for the fun part, the how. How do you actually pick the right tool out of a pretty crowded field? We're going to use a simple 5-point checklist.
When you're looking at any vendor, these are the 5 boxes you've got to tick. First, security. Does it actually work in the real world? Second, features. Does it have the non-negotiables like a credential vault and session recording? Third, compliance. Is it going to make your auditors and insurance providers happy? Fourth, integration. Is it going to play nice with the tools you already use? And finally, deployment. Can you run it where you need it, whether that's in the cloud, on-prem, or a mix of both?
All right, with that checklist in our back pocket, let's meet the contenders, the solutions that are really shaping the PAM world as we head into 2026.
First up, we have the heavyweight champion, CyberArk. This is pretty much the go-to standard for massive, complex organizations. You could think of it as the enterprise titan of the group.
Now, what's fascinating here is the trade-off. On the one hand, CyberArk has some incredibly powerful threat detection and amazing audit trails, which is perfect if you're in a heavily regulated industry. But that power comes at a price. We're talking higher costs, a really steep learning curve, and a setup that can be pretty complex to get going.
Next, we've got a completely different kind of player, miniOrange. Let's call this one the Agile Unifier. It's really built for companies that want top-notch security, but without all the old-school complexity. Yeah, the whole story with miniOrange is about being simple and fast. Because it's agentless, getting it set up is way quicker and less of a headache. Users love the interface, and it's built to grow with you, whether you're a small business or a huge enterprise. The trade-off? Some of the super niche, advanced customizations are still a work in progress.
So let's put them side by side because this really tells the whole story. The key thing here is the fit. CyberArk is the perfect choice for giant companies that have dedicated security teams who need that deep, granular control. On the other hand, miniOrange is a slam dunk for organizations that care more about getting up and running quickly with a tool that people actually enjoy using. It's that classic matchup, established power versus modern agility.
Of course, it's not just a two-horse race. There are 3 other key players you should know about. Beyond Trust is a powerhouse, especially if you're focused on locking down individual computers and servers. Then there's Delinea, which has really carved out a niche in the fast-paced world of DevOps. And if your company already uses a bunch of managed engine tools, their PAM 360 solution can be a really convenient choice. But you'll want to keep an eye on how well it scales.
And we can see these themes pop up when we look at what actual users are saying. On G2, miniOrange has a perfect 5.0 rating, which just goes to show how much people value that simple, user-friendly experience. At the same time, the really strong scores for Beyond Trust and CyberArk prove that they are incredibly effective and trusted solutions, even if they take a bit more work to master.
So with all of this on the table, how in the world do you make the final decision? Well, it all boils down to one thing: matching the solution to your strategy.
And this, right here, is the most important thing to take away from all of this. There is no single best PAM solution that works for everyone. The right choice is the one that fits like a glove with your technology, the skill level of your security team, and where your company is planning to go in the future.
I want to leave you with this quote from Pradeep Kumar, a senior software engineer, because it just cuts right to the heart of it. He says, "That's why PAM is so important. It helps you control who gets access to what, when, and where. In a world full of smart, determined attackers, having that fundamental control, well, that's everything."
So the final question really is for you. When you think about the challenges and the changes coming over the next few years, is your access strategy really ready for 2026?